The year is 1776, the pivotal year in America's struggle for independence. Americans in all 13 colonies are in rebellion against British rule. The Continental Army, under the command of George Washington, is engaging British forces in Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey. Colonists everywhere are acting in defiance of British authority. Harsh British reprisals only served to stiffen opposition. On July 4th, Americans took the decisive step. Representatives from all the American colonies signed the Declaration of Independence. The British response was to send a large military expedition to quell the rebellion. Admiral Richard Howe was in charge of British naval forces. His brother William had commanded of the army. Admiral Howe believed that a negotiated peace was possible, and he was granted permission by King George III to attempt a settlement. He wrote a letter to a number of distinguished Americans offering to seek a peace agreement. He hoped especially for a response from Benjamin Franklin, with whom he was friendly during Franklin days as colonial agent in London. Franklin introduced Howe's letter as a secession of the Continental Congress, which then met in Philadelphia. The Congress authorized Franklin, John Adams of Massachusetts, and Edward Rutledge of South Carolina to meet Admiral Howe to determine if he had anything of substance to offer. The meeting took place in that building, which was then known as the Billop House, after its original owner, Captain Christopher Billop. Let us imagine that this is the very day they met, Friday, September 11th, 1776. It is a meeting of enemies under a flag of truce. The flag is essential. If captured, the three Americans would be tried and hanged as traitors. On this occasion, however, Admiral Howe guaranteed their safety. The American delegation needed 2 days to travel from Philadelphia to Perth Amboy, New Jersey. They traveled by coach over rough roads, stopping now and then to take a meal and stretch aching limbs. They stopped overnight in New Brunswick. Rooms being scarce, Franklin and Adams had to share a small room with a single bed. Perth Amboy, just across the river, is held by rebels. Staten Island is a British fortress. 32,000 British redcoats and Hessian mercenaries are stationed here. The sounds of musket and cannon shots fired from one side of the river to the other is a daily routine. As proof of his good intentions, Admiral Howe sent one of his officers as a hostage to be held by American forces until the delegation returned to New Jersey. The Americans, believing that Howe would be true to his word, had the hostage sit in the boat and cross the Narrows with them. Let's follow Admiral Howe as he goes to shore to greet the American delegation.
Gentlemen, you bring my hostage with you. You pay me a high compliment, and you may depend upon it. I will consider it the most sacred of things. I trust that your journey was reasonably comfortable.
It was as comfortable as it might be, your lordship, considering that last night I shared a bed with Dr. Franklin, a man whose bulk is superior to my own. I did manage to get a night's sleep, though I am a victim of his faulty theories.
I know Franklin well. We played chess together in London. He is a man of active mind and numerous theories. But which of his theories are you alluding to?
His theory of catching and avoiding colds. He insisted upon opening the window of our room on a rather chilly evening. Fresh air, he said. Keeps off colds, he said. His theory is wrong. I started the night with a slight cold, and by morning it was a bad cold.
Adams. I say that my theory is correct. I did not catch your cold.
Aha! Always a retort. I see that my old friend is as quick-witted as ever, but I have not had the pleasure of meeting the third member of your party.
I am Edward Rutledge, South Carolina.
South Carolina has not been kind to His Majesty's royal governor.
Nor have the governors been kind to South Carolina.
Yes, but with a little good, those grievances can soon be forgotten. But come, gentlemen, before we talk, we have prepared a repast for you.
At this point, Admiral Howe invited his guests to enter the conference house, where a table laden with food awaited them. The menu included good claret, ham, tongue, and mutton. After the luncheon, they sat about a large table and began their discussion.
I hope you have enjoyed our modest menu, gentlemen. This being a military camp, we are unfortunately not able to match our lunch tables.
We are colonials, quite accustomed to plain food. Your lordship has fed us beyond our expectations.
I am pleased to hear it. Now, may I ascertain what official capacity you are in?
We are representatives appointed by Congress to hear your proposals, my lord.
Oh, you must not mention Congress. I cannot deal with the Congress. His Majesty does not recognize your Congress. The very mention of it would put him into a fit. But when everything is settled and the colonies are once again restored to their proper places in the British Empire, there will be no need for a Congress.
Your lordship may consider us in any view you think proper. We are at liberty to consider ourselves in our real character. The conversation may be held as among friends.
I am willing to consider myself in any character which would be agreeable to your lordship, except of that as a British subject.
Mr. Adams is a decided character.
I think, Dr. Franklin, that the conversation may be as among friends.
Conversation among friends it shall be. In spite of our disagreements, we British are kindly disposed towards Americans. When an American falls, England feels it. I feel the same even more strongly. And if America fell, I should feel and lament it like a brother.
We will do our utmost to spare your lordship that mortification.
Come, Dr. Franklin, the issues that divide us are trivial. Surely we can reach an accommodation, reunite our countries and peoples under terms satisfactory to both.
Reunite? Surely your lordship is aware that we have declared our independence.
A rash decision made in the heat of passion. When calm is restored, I am sure you will reconsider it. Besides, to put it plainly, I cannot discuss independence. That word is totally unacceptable to His Majesty.
The Declaration of Independence was proclaimed a little over 2 months ago, on July 4th. It was America's answer to their last petition to the King. The King's response to that petition was to send our forces and burn our towns.
The Declaration of Independence is not simply an act of rebellion. It sets forth an ideal that is now universally desired by our colonies. It is not in our power, my lord, to treat our colonies as anything other than independent states. For my own part, I vow never to depart from that idea of independence.
I am one of the oldest members of Congress, my lord, having been a member since the beginning. I am glad this conversation is taking place. It will be the occasion of opening to Great Britain the advantages she would derive from an alliance with a free America. Trade with America will enrich English commerce, provide employment for its people and revenues for its government. The United States can protect the West India Islands more effectively than England can, to say nothing of a Newfoundland fishery.
Highly desirable, but all that can be achieved under the benevolent protection of the British Empire. But there is certainly more to it than commerce. The British Empire must protect its subjects, and yes, its interests, in many parts of the world. America can confer upon Great Britain more solid advantages. It is her commerce, her strength, her men that we chiefly want.
We are a considerable manufactory of men, my lord, but they are increasingly unwilling to fight Britain's wars.
If we can reach an agreement that resolves their grievances, they will willingly fight Britain's wars. There have been abuses regarding taxation and other issues. These can be remedied. Detached from the British Empire, your colonies will soon be at war with one another. As members of the Empire, a wise and benevolent government will maintain harmony.
Fine sentiments, my lord, and I know you utter them sincerely. But the American people will no longer consent to come again under English government. I can speak for South Carolina. The royal government was very oppressive. At last, we took the government into our own hands, and now the people are settled and happy under that government. Under no circumstances will they return to the king's government.
A very uncompromising statement, sir, but consider the alternative, which is to restore His Majesty's government by force of arms. A war will last for years and will devastate your societies. It is that which I hope to avoid. But this cannot be achieved unless all parties are prepared to compromise.
May we hear what compromises your lordship is authorized to offer us.
His Majesty is most generous. He is prepared to issue a blanket pardon to all rebels.
All friends of mine who are close to your government have informed me that there is a secret protocol to this effect that John Adams's pardon shall take place in the form of a rope around his neck.
You have managed to annoy quite a few people in London, Mr. Adams. I don't deny it, but I know of no secret protocol.
I see.
To continue with His Majesty's agenda, a fair settlement of tax grievances and the restoration of representative government that serves its people is loyal to His Majesty and which preserves a great empire. All in all, a sensible solution.
If I were to tell the citizens of any of our colonies that the king proposed to pardon them, I'd be a laughing stock, and I might well find myself in the stocks. Our citizens are of the opinion that His Majesty ought to apologize to them. His armies have burnt defenseless towns in the midst of winter, and he is now bringing foreign mercenaries to deluge our settlements with blood.
It is rebellion that has brought about such harsh measures. Gentlemen, we are civilized men. We are here to find a way to end the ruinous extremities which follow upon rebellion.
As you know, your lordship, I have long favored reconciliation with Great Britain. When I was in England, we spoke of it often, but that was quite a few years ago. Things have changed. We have progressed too far along the path of independence. For us, there is no turning back. Might I suggest a different compromise? Perhaps your lordship would send home for authority to negotiate with us as an independent nation.
That is a vain hope. And I appreciate your candor, gentlemen, but it is clear to me that no accommodation is possible. The war will go on. You will suffer greatly. And in the end, you cannot prevail. Just recently, General Washington's army was soundly thrashed in Long Island. We could see how ragged, half-staved, poorly equipped, and undisciplined his men were. Our agents report that his men leave when their recruitments expire. A few others desert. That does not sound like a population desirous of independence. A prolonged war will cause a great deal of starvation and misery. And if you lose, the terms will be much, much harsher.
In Long Island, we may have lost a battle, your lordship, but not a war. Our memory is vast. Our people seized with the idea of liberty. 1 million British troops and Hessians cannot conquer them.
The prolonged war will cost England dearly. Attempt to conquer us, and you will deplete your treasury and impoverish your own subjects. Trade with us as equals, and you will prosper. We will all prosper.
There is, I suppose, no more to be said. I wish you a safe journey back to your homes and hope that we will meet again in happier circumstances.
Adieu, my lord. We thank you for your equanimity and your hospitality.
To many historians, the conference on Staten Island was an incident. Nothing significant happened. No deal was reached. But something significant did happen, was reached. 3 Americans resisted the temptation to compromise the ideal of liberty. As they boarded the barge that would take them back to New Jersey, they knew that the coming years would test Americans' mental. But there was something else, something more profound. Their conversation with Admiral Howe made them aware that a sea change was occurring in the affairs of men. The world would never be the same.